Hi, this is Andy of Sherpa Business Development, and this is part 2 of my migration to a mobile-friendly, responsive design website. And before I dive in and show you how this all works and how I'm kind of excited about it, I just want to review why I went through this right now. So you may recall from the prior video, I had found out from my Google Analytics that about 10% of my visitors were coming to my website from their mobile device. And I wanted them to have a good experience. If I go up a level, just in concept here, really as providers of a product or service, it's our job to knock down all the possible barriers that stand between the value that we provide or that our product provides and the prospects or customers who need access to that, right? So that's one way to look at our jobs as marketers and sellers, is to make sure that we're constantly looking for and finding the kink in that process, the bottleneck, to make the value that we provide much more accessible to our prospects and customers. So that might be learning to create better content, better writing, so that it grabs attention, that it draws people in. It might be finding new venues or avenues to get your word out. That's going to be a better match of finding the right prospects and customers for you. Or in this case, just what device are they on? How can we make sure that there's no hiccup, there's no friction? For somebody who's inspired enough to check out my website from their cell phone or from a tablet, I want to make sure that they have a good experience. So now that I've gone through this, let me just share with you what I learned, my advice. First of all, get help. This is something that really I should have delegated. It is my area of expertise, but if I were in a different line of business, it's something I should have outsourced, right? So get help. I encourage you. Most of you who are listening to this probably should not be the ones to try to make this transition for yourselves. So let's talk about what it takes to be a smart consumer then if you are going to get help. First of all, if you have someone who's recommending that they build you a custom mobile-friendly website, I encourage you to challenge that. There are many tools out there. I've used a theme, a responsive design theme, that makes it very easy to have one website that looks good on lots of different platforms, whether it's a phone or a computer. So I encourage you to challenge someone. You may have a unique requirement, and that's fine, but don't default to a custom website. If you're viewing this video on my blog, I'll include some additional resources below. My approach is not the only one. There are other very economical ways to develop a mobile-friendly website or have a separate site specific for mobile users. Okay, so get help, be a smart consumer. Another way to be a smart consumer is to ensure that you're removing, or the person that's helping you is removing, all possible risk. So whether you're shifting hosts, which I did just as a coincidence, or doing anything to disrupt your standard desktop website, you want to make sure that you can run sites in parallel, that all your information is backed up, and that there's a plan in place for if you don't like the result, that you can rewind, that you can fall back to your old site without risk, right? So you always want to have a fallback plan, okay? Okay, so that's what I've learned from the process. Now let me walk you through what I've ended up with here. So you may recall I was struggling with some of these menus. Turned out to be a very simple solution. Again, another reason to delegate. CSS is not, formatting is not my strength, so I had to stumble through that a little bit. But it was a good learning experience. As I shrink this up, let's see what it would look like for somebody who's on an iPad or some kind of a tablet. Things shuffle around a little bit. The sidebar shrinks down to become part of the lower parts of the pages. The footer elements stack on top of one another instead of next to each other. Now if I go over to my blog and scroll through what these blog posts look like and shrink it down even more to what a telephone experience or a smartphone experience would look like, the menus start to stack up. Still very easy to read. You can picture how this would look on a smartphone. And it's not critical that I make it easy for people to call me. I decided just to put my phone number in one of the footers, knowing that from a smartphone they could easily click that phone number and say, yes, I want to call that number. So I've made it pretty easy for somebody to call me. If you do manage a restaurant or other kind of retail environment like that, where you really want to make it easy for people to call you, then there's some other things you can do for a custom mobile experience, where say at the top of the page there would be a call me now button or that kind of thing. But that was less critical for me. But all in all, I'm very pleased. I hope this has been useful for you to check out my experience of moving to a mobile-friendly website. If you're a small business owner, I encourage you to check out SherpaBusinessDevelopment.com for more business building tips like this.